Hello and welcome in. I am creating some videos for each sign based on your rising sign that will contain intuitive guidance just for you if you identify with the Sisterhood of the Rose. In this guidance, what I'm going to be calling in is guidance from the Marys within these cards. And I am going to be asking them to tell us a story for each rising sign of what is really opening and unfolding with the current astrological energy, which we all know we've been going through extreme transits. There's been a lot happening. And something really opened up through the solar eclipse for many people, the solar eclipse that happened April 8th. And then we had that huge Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, a beautiful new moon in Taurus, and then a very powerful full moon that we just had here in Sagittarius. And it's leading us into this ongoing story that Jupiter and Venus are really expanding us into from a soul's growth perspective. We are expanding into these new versions of self. And as Venus goes into Gemini soon along with Jupiter, Venus is going to have a full Venus and it's going to complete a cycle. And that seems very powerful and potent. And so I just wanted to really call in wisdom from my guidance team for all of you who identify with the Sisterhood of the Rose, to really hear maybe a little bit more of what might be going on, what might be opening up and calling you forward right now. So listen in with your own discernment for what feels right and what feels true for you. Allow it to sit with you. And this may not resonate for everyone, but I am going to create videos for each rising sign, and I hope you enjoy. And also, please share this content. I'm bad at even saying to like and subscribe and share. So if you wouldn't mind, please do so if you find a benefit, or if you know of anyone who you suspect might be also a part of the Rose lineage of light, also a part of the Sisterhood of the Rose. Thanks so much and enjoy. Hello and welcome in, Virgo Risings, to your reading. And this reading, as I said, is really helping to hopefully tell a story about what is underway for you since the huge eclipse season that we just went through, since the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We're moving through this period of time, and if you are finding this content, it is because you identify with the Sisterhood of the Rose. And for many of us who carry this Rose lineage of light, we are being shifted into a deeper sense of alignment with the expression of our light. And so I have called in the Marys to help us really illuminate what is the process that's underway, to ask for some guidance. So these are big readings. The Marys had a lot to say. It's kind of taken me a while to get them all posted and completed, because each one is containing 4 overarching themes, 4 clarifying cards, 3 cards to help tune into the soul growth lesson and what is happening in that regard, and then a support or guidance, or what kind of medicine can you find on the journey. So let's get started. Your first card was, this is from the Akashic Tarot deck, and it's called the 8 of Forces, the Lightning Bolt, and it's upside down. And this is a very powerful first card to start the reading. And again, take any of these readings, take any of this wisdom and see how it might apply for you, and discard anything that doesn't.
But these are meant to be tuning into your overall spiritual path. And so when I see this, what I see is that you are receiving a giant activation, or perhaps have already moved through the receiving of that activation, and it's maybe filtering through your system, Virgo risings. This to me looks like a big awakening, because the lightning bolt, when it's reversed, the bolt of lightning is reaching up to crack the heavens. And what it represents is nothing less than this surge of divine power that is moving through you and rising up from the depths of creation. And so this is a time saying that you might have recently also suffered a loss, but the storm is dispersing, metaphorically. There might be some cleanup. You might need to set down some new roots. You may need to seek some new ground. There might be a new growth phase that has opened up. So however this applies to you, just tune into that. But what this is saying is that you've got divine power coursing through your beingness, rising up from the depth of creation. That's primordial, that's sacred, that is absolutely beautiful. So I am sorry if you've just recently moved through something that has felt displacing, or that you feel that you have gone through a storm. But that surge of divine energy is just power. It's power. Okay, card 2, Virgo Risings, is the Seven of Roses, and it's called The Journey. And I'm going to show you what this card looks like upright. And so this second theme here is really speaking to potentially a journey, a move, something that was a big shift being delayed or canceled for you, maybe a change. And so this card's speaking to, if you've been looking to change, expand, or diversify your work, now might not be the right time just yet. But don't worry. You haven't lost the opportunity for new discoveries or new travels or new places. It's merely been delayed. So be patient and attend to what is right before you right now. The universe is directing you into your present moment and saying your ship will return again when the timing feels right. So feel into that and feel into the resonance of that, and perhaps this is maybe why your card 3, and tune into, you just got a 7 of Roses. Here's another 7. This card is called Fated Meeting. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, so I'm going to just read the definition for this card so that you can feel into however this might apply to you. It says, a clock tower stands with its hands pointing to just a few minutes before 12. A man and a woman approach each other, coming to meet at a time that was predetermined by their higher selves, which are shown just above them, translucent and shining. With this card, you are coming into a very important relationship in your life. Either it is entirely new, or an existing relationship is being lifted into a much higher experience. Karma from past lives may have brought you together, so it's important for you to both stay alert, keep your individual and collective growth a priority, and act with deference and compassion to yourselves and to each other. If you both honor your karmic course, this should be one of the highest relationships you can know. This card also may show a fated meeting with another about a work situation, a creative project, or an important purpose that you hold. This too is likely karmic. Perhaps it's a past life publisher, a spiritual teacher, a brother, or a sister. Whoever this is, it's a powerful and promising relationship. So get ready. It's almost time. Ooh, Virgo risings, I just got goosebumps. Wow. So it says that this person, this relationship is moving into your field. So we've got one more card here to take a look at before we move on to the clarifiers. And the last one that is what is part of this overarching theme that's opened up for you, the ascent. And so again, my immediate intuitive nudge, what I immediately hear the Mary saying to me is that this card is actually representational more of your ascension process and perhaps the activations taking place in your system from receiving all of this divine light coursing through you. What will happen is if you are, and this could potentially be signaling for some of you Virgo risings, this could be signaling of Kundalini awakening, that is, see how that lightning is swirling up the tree, basically. It's kind of wrapping around the tree. That reminds me a lot of the snaking energy of the Kundalini as it moves up and through your energetic centers when that comes online for you. So for some of you, you may be fully coming online in a brand new way. And this process is really about the consistent effort, the ascent, that what the actual definition of the card means. It speaks to a man who is claiming he just climbed a cliff, and it's been a very difficult path. You can tell by how steep the mountain, how rocky the terrain. He has risen with great effort and determination. And there might be some risks involved, it says, but it's saying that you can reach the top. This can also signify for you advancements in your career right now. Could be a promotion, could be getting some recognition or feeling yourself moving up, gaining new skills. And this basically is also indicating this isn't just luck, this is divine. This is based on your efforts, your intentions, your hard work, your consistent application is what is going to bring the success, or what has brought the success. So whether you have achieved this yet, or if this is a process underway, what this is really pointing to is that your hard work, your consistency, the tones that you're holding within the intentions in your heart space are really what is fueling your climb and your ascent, and ultimately it will be what helps you to achieve the success here. So let's take a look at some clarifying cards to get a better understanding. So let's see. I guess I'm just going to put these in front here. So the first clarifier we got for you is the Eight of Swords. So this card always really speaks to kind of this idea of restriction, but it's self-inflicted restriction, because this cage, the door is open. The cage is open, yet she remains inside because she perceives the cage around her, right? And she's also got her own blindfold on. Do you see that there's a blindfold over her eyes? And so what this card is really saying is that sometimes we can have our own blinders on, or we're not opening our minds, we're not shifting our perception in a way that allows us to see a greater sense of freedom and to realize that we are truly sovereign in our energy, that there is nothing that can restrict us or prevent us from moving forward with our highest path, and that if there is any fear, this is a product of our logical mind, our egoic mind. It is a reflection of limiting beliefs. And most of the restrictions that we perceive, we are imposing on ourselves, and they are illusory. They are pure illusions. And so your guide spirit is wanting to gather your attention and bring your awareness to any sense of restriction that you may be internally imposing on yourself in some capacity. And so whether that means it's difficult to open up into the ascension process underway, the spiritual journey that you're on, or whether you are feeling limited in your ability to perhaps be effective in some capacity in your life, just tuning into your own power to create sovereignty for yourself and to shift your energy, to shift your vibratory frequency. And if there are beliefs that you're carrying that are no longer in alignment with you, at any point in time, you always have permission to shift those beliefs back into something that feels more supportive to you. And look at what's the next card. Speaking exactly to that. This is beautiful. So notice the infinity sign. Notice that it's a figure 8. Notice that this is apparently showing this connection between the earth, between our human self, between our divine connections within the universe to work with energy. This is the card of the alchemist, of manifestation, of willpower, of creation energy. And this card's really talking about that we already have everything that we need to create miracles in our life, to create heaven on earth, to shift our experience. And when we access the bridge that is within our heart center, when we access this portal, which I have visually seen in my own mind's eye to look a lot like that, what we're doing is we're opening our own self up as a channel that's connecting heaven and earth through us as us. And we're opening ourselves up into the miracles, the blessings, the solutions, the potentials that are just waiting in our field, ready to drop in. But oftentimes we block them, so maybe this is also a reference back here to this 8 of Swords. We can sometimes block ourselves from receiving because we're not opened to receive. We're in a state where we feel like we have to do, where we have to control the outcome, where we're in charge, instead of surrendering into this sense of, I can draw everything I need to me and allow it to flow through me as a channel. And so even if I don't have the solutions at hand with my mental power, with my mind, even if there's a restriction, right? A restriction, where can I take that restriction into the universe and invite in a greater connection with spirit, with, my angels, with my guides, with my connection to divine forces to help me feel guided into solutions and to help bring those solutions forward. This is your third qualifier. It's the Page of Swords, and it represents ideas coming to you from spirit through your own stream of consciousness. And so tuning in again to, this is again pointing you into tuning into your connectivity, remembering into the oneness of your personal divinity, and how when we try to rack our mind, our linear mind, for the ideas that we need to create or solve a problem, we sometimes will step out of that flow that's just flowing to us from, the cosmic forces from the universe. And when we're in flow, our stream of consciousness is bringing forward ideas through our third eye, through our intuition. And so any kind of insight that might be coming to you from your guides, from your angels, from the universe, oftentimes what will happen is it shows up right there in the mind's eye as this poof, bright idea. It's a gift dropping in like this beautiful feather. And so potentially this is pointing you to starting more of a journaling practice where maybe you meditate, maybe you tune in and you allow yourself to simply practice opening up and letting it flow through you and seeing what comes out on the paper. Asking very intentionally, maybe your question before you begin to journal is, what does spirit, what does my higher aspect of self, what do my guides want to say to me today? What advice might they have for X, Y, or Z situation? And then begin to write and just let yourself, without judgment, write whatever comes out. And perhaps even turn on like some beautiful music in the background, some ambient music that helps you to feel into the connection that you've just opened as you've meditated. Whatever it is that supports you might really help to. It's a great way to cultivate creativity, but it's also a really beautiful way to hone your intuition and hone that free flowing connection. And you'll begin to start to really differentiate when you do this. There's a lot of exercises you can do actually to begin to work with your intuition more and strengthen your knowingness within your intuition. But you'll begin to differentiate your internal voice, your limited thinking voice, your egoic mind, and you'll begin to tune into not only your egoic mind, your higher mind, but then you'll see the difference when your guidance is flowing through you. Okay, so the last clarifier we have, look at that beautiful card. It's the King of Cups. And this deck doesn't get read in reverse, but it can indicate that perhaps there's, this is coming up, or there may be a little bit of a challenge here with what this card speaks to. And so in this deck, this King of Cups is the keeper of our individual and collective book of life. And so when we agreed to take on this lifetime to come into form, we also agreed to the experience of experiencing illusion, experiencing the illusion of the 3D world in order to discover who we truly are as our soul self. And part of that, part of the agreements we make before we incarnate contain soul contracts. They contain karmic lessons that we have agreed to come and basically move through. And so this is inviting you into a perspective that some of the situations that have perhaps been difficult, some of the things that you might really want to judge others for, specifically in those very karmic situations. This card speaks to diplomacy, but really to me it speaks to judgment, because it's talking about how diplomacy is more than being able to see both sides of anything. It's the ability to see the unity in everything, and how spirit doesn't take sides in any illusory conflict or any of the hurtful circumstances that we move through. Rather, spirit knows that each one of us, we each agreed to take on that role. And so whether we are the hurter or the hurtee in a situation that's painful, there is a karmic lesson involved in the situations that are the most pronounced that are the most difficult are the biggest karmic lessons that we're really learning. And so rather than staying in a place where we blame the situation and we point out all of the wrongs with what the other person might have done or how you were not treated in a proper way, this card is really inviting you to take your perspective to a much higher level and to recognize that you agreed to go through this experience on some level, that there was some karmic need, some karmic agreement, and that other party situation, whatever this might be applying to for you, know that there was an agreement on their end too. That agreement goes both ways, and sometimes we're agreeing to be the one that causes pain, and there is a lot of damage, there's a lot of difficulty and emotional space to move through if that is the case, just as much as if we're the one receiving the pain. And so finding a space to be able to find unity in the experience is what this card speaks to. So take this for however that lands, but I did want to break that down because it's a difficult card to, in my opinion, it's kind of a difficult card that you have to sit with, you have to meditate with what this is really kind of getting at. There's a lot of depth with this card. Okay, so the next cards are your soul guidance cards that are really speaking to what's unfolding for you from a soul growth perspective, what might be happening from maybe even a higher dimensional perspective that you are not aware of, or that you are kind of in process of working with. So this first one is very cool, and I'm really wishing I could remember which podcast was just speaking of this. I believe it might have been one of Heather Ainsworth's podcasts, where she pulls in some of the fixed stars, some of the outer star systems into a lot of her astrological updates. And so it was most likely one of her videos, her YouTube videos, that was probably about the full moon in Sagittarius that we just went through. And there was a connection actually to the Pleiades. And the 7 star sisters are a representation of the Pleiadian energy. It is, that is what they're often called, is the 7 sisters. So just feeling in there to that card's energy. But this card's really speaking to new creation, also wanting to be birthed through you, that new consciousness is coming to be breathed into life through you, and that when this card comes up, you're being called to surrender into this creation energy that's coming in. What it's wanting to do is actually usher in a new era of consciousness and to shift you into a greater alignment of helping you do your own personal, in this card reading it says your bit, but to step into your role more potently in weaving the web of life. So this is the card of the artist, it's the card of the midwife, which is also Virgo Risings, very representative of Virgo, right? Midwifing. And you're being called to ponder some questions of what is wanting to be birthed through you right now? What new creations are whispering in your ear? What beauty are you being called to create or make in your space, in your environment? Maybe it's in your relationships, however this is landing. But it's pointing to, again, this activation and this aligning energy that's really opening you up, it sounds like, bringing you online. And this creative energy, it's saying creativity and intuition come from the same sacred place. They occur when we find ourselves flowing with the rest of life. So there's a lot of pointers here to relax, release, surrender into a creative project. Maybe it's a new business. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you have always wanted to learn how to crochet. Maybe you just want to shift your home into a space that makes you feel better suited. It's a better expression of you right now. Whatever it is, you're being called to express yourself through your creativity and to surrender into projects that both scare and excite you. So that's a very big key, because the scaring you and exciting you is actually what's propelling you into this, where was it here? The greater alignment, the ascension. Okay, so card number 2 is beautiful for the earth energy of you, Virgo risings. Activated earth, power place, ley lines. Trust where you are being led. So ley lines are invisible pathways within the land, within the earth. And energy travels along these ley lines, and you can often feel them, especially if you really begin to tune in and cultivate that relationship. You can begin to sense and know where they're going. And some are known as spiritual paths. Some are in very spiritual places. There are very PowerPoint type of energetic places all across the globe. And it's been compared, these ley lines have been compared, comparing the Earth's and the Earth's ley lines to the human body, and the system used within Chinese medicine, within TCM, that map out the meridian system of the body. And a lot of the sacred sites in the stone circles are built upon these very powerful energetic places. So if you were being called to travel, if you're being called into visiting, or maybe you're being drawn to a certain geographical location, you might also be being called to a sacred place that your soul remembers. And this is also a card that indicates it's time for you to tend to the land that you live on. Perhaps you are doing some deeper energy work and not only tending to the land physically, but perhaps spiritually as well, and honoring, acknowledging. There's a lot of us who have been called into the Sisterhood of the Rose who are actually here to alchemize some of the stuck energies within the earth plane that never did get honored properly from some of the abuses, some of the horrific situations that have occurred here, the displacements from native land, etc. And there are a lot of us who are called to help alchemize that and to work with the earth in a way that allows us to send our energy in and through those ley lines. And I've actually been shown a lot to do with that myself. That is a lot of what we are doing within the Sisterhood of the Rose. As all of this is kind of coming online for all of us, we're realizing that our energy is far more potent than we realized. And we're also realizing that when we set our heart-centered intentions to send that love as it's overflowing from us into the planet and into the collective and into these ley lines, that energy is then dispersed and it goes everywhere it needs to go and sends a healing wave of love out into the planet. And how beautiful is that? I feel like you are being called more deeply. So just allow this to resonate however it is landing. It sounds like you're being called more deeply into working with nature, working with harnessing your own energy, your own sovereignty, your own self-care, getting into that flow state and allowing it to spread. And so this is talking again about energetic sovereignty. Look at that. empathy, the mirror, absorbing things that are not yours in your energy field. And that can be one of the hardest things when you are coming online. If this is true for you, if you are in the process of a deeper aspect of your spiritual journey right now, one of the hardest, I think, lessons that took me a while to really work with, to the point that I felt like I was far more effective in what I was doing, I had to really work with my energy, and I had to learn what was mine and what I was absorbing from others around me and carrying with me, which is a very Virgo rising thing to do, is you absorb the pain of others and want to then fix it because you can. You are so good at fixing things, my Virgo risings. You're excellent at that. You know sometimes the answers, you know how to solve the problems, you have ideas, but is it yours to take on? And when we carry other people's energy in our field and we're not clearing our field, we're not returning back into sovereignty, and it's not part of our personal practice, over time what will happen is that will entirely shift your frequency. And that can begin to start to manifest itself in discord in the body. You can start to have aches, start to have pain, start to have real mood shifts and changes, a lethargy, a feeling of it, you just don't have enough energy. You're tired all the time. You might be carrying around a lot of extra energy that's not yours, darlings. So if this is like, yes, Lauren, you are correct, that is what's happening. I'm going to link to, I just finalized it, so I'm excited I could say I'm going to link. I'm going to link to a free offering that actually has this practice. So whether or not you want to work more deeply with the Working with Your Light program that was just channeled through me by, working with the Marys, they really wanted me to bring forward what was like a culmination of my basic principles of how to work with energy to help bring a greater sense of empowerment, because there's a lot of performative spirituality out there right now in the mainstream. And if you are called into the Sisterhood of the Rose, it's because now is a time to really step forward. And whatever is opening is happening for you because you are being called forward, into your gifts. And it's essential. The very first step of learning to work with your energy, according to the Marys, is to learn how to create energetic sovereignty for yourself. Learn how to clear your field, learn how to recall all of your energy back to yourself and cut any energetic cords or ties to any people, spaces, places, circumstances, periods of time, other lifetimes potentially even. So just, again, tune into that for however it lands. But I do have, because I want everyone to feel vibrationally into the Working with Your Light course, and make sure it's a fit, this is a free offering that I've created, and it's the very first practice. Like I said, it's the foundational starting point that they've given. And it also contains the wisdom transmission that's going to talk a lot more about creating your energetic sovereignty that was channeled directly from the Marys. So you might be interested in listening to that since you got this card. So here's your last card. This is your guidance card, your support card. Your reading's really going long. I guess I'm chatty. So check out Master number 22 up there. Connected to the planet Neptune, connected to Larimer, and the overall meaning again is perspective. And Larimer seeks to harmonize, but also elevate, in my opinion. It focuses again on the throat chakra, the third eye. It's communicative, it's intuitive in nature. And it's basically, this card is saying there's two kinds of being: having low vibe thoughts and letting your frequency join those low vibe thoughts, or having low vibe thoughts but shifting them to join shifting them to join a higher frequency, or allowing yourself to shift your frequency, shift your vibration on purpose. It's all about your perspective. If you can shift your perspective, you can perceive and experience either a negative or a positive situation or influence. So much like the planet Neptune, it's how you balance out the illusions to reality. Neptune represents a sense of an incompletion or imperfection, but it also indicates a way, and this is what I'm feeling, the tuning into your higher mind, your non-linear mind, sinking into a deeper sense of faith, sinking into your spiritual guidance, and allowing yourself to trust that it's okay to not have everything figured out, which is actually perfect advice for you, Virgo risings. Don't worry so much. Don't create that need in yourself to control the outcome and to need to know how it's going to play out, because this card is guiding you to say life is so much more than you could ever imagine. When you allow your analytical mind to become too involved, what you do is create confusion and sometimes take yourself off your path. When you allow your non-rational mind to take over, so therefore your third eye, your imagination, you can sit in a fantasy, and you can also become disillusioned. And so how can you balance these energies? Larimer will help you to harmonize, I believe. And I think maybe you should go find yourself some Larimer, because what it's really talking about is harmonizing your third eye, harmonizing reality from illusions and any deceptions. And it's reminding me back here to the restrictions. So if you really felt, a resonance with moving through your own sense of mental restriction, your own sense of limited thinking or negative beliefs that are holding you back, I think what will happen is Larimer will help you to tune into the truth and paying attention to the Neptune transits in your chart in relationship to your chart, as well as that beautiful 22. All right, Virgo risings, thank you for hanging out. This was a long one. I hope that it was supportive. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I would love any comments to tell me if anything was really resonating or what maybe you might be moving through. I wish you all love and luck as you are on your journey, and would appreciate any likes, any subscribes, any shares. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.